Instagram. Oh, I got a new follower. Hey, Toria Howard. Hey, Toria Howard. If you watch my video, you're going to be on it because you followed me during my filming. Good for you. Hey, TRA family. If this is your first time watching a Hey TRA episode, thank you for joining us. I'm so happy that you found me, and I'm so glad you're here. My name is Hannah Jackson Matthews, and I'm the content creator behind Hey TRA. I'm an adult transracial adoptee, and if you don't already know, a transracial adoptee, or TRA, is someone who is adopted or fostered by a family whose race is different than their own. This racial difference can make navigating racial identity and racism extremely challenging for the TRA. As a result, I've created Hey TRA to help transracial adoptees and their families navigate racial identity and racism together. I release new content every other Wednesday, except if you are on my Patreon. That's right, for $5 a month, you have access to episodes not every other Wednesday, but every single Wednesday. Not only that, but you get access to my merch, future events, a bunch of other extra content and perks. So be sure to check that out if you are interested. I'll incorporate the link for that in the description box below. Also, be sure to follow Hey TRA on social media. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to find us and follow us there. And if you have not already, subscribe to my channel to make sure that you have notification whenever I upload new content. It's February, so happy Black History Month. If you do not already know, which I don't know how you could possibly not know, I released an educational calendar for white folks this Black History Month, and it's available for purchase on my website. It's only $4.99, and I've already gotten a bunch of wonderful feedback on how it is helping people learn about race, racism, and grow their own cultural competency. If you're interested in that, I have incorporated a link to that in my description box below. And that brings us to today's topic, which has to do with Black History Month. It's an age-old debate. Do we need Black History Month? For real, for real. Oh, we're gonna talk about it. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so here's some context. Dr. Carter G. Woodson is the guy that we now hold up as responsible for what we now know as Black History Month. In 1926, he created Negro American History Month. He created this because he thought it was imperative for Black Americans to understand their own history in order to be valuable contributing members of American society. He also hoped that one day Black History Month would be rendered obsolete when white Americans realized that Black Americans were equal and valuable members of our nation. Honestly, debates around whether or not Black History Month and similar topics like it have been happening as soon as Dr. Carter G. Woodson created Negro American History Month. And when I was thinking about this debate, I couldn't help but think about two texts that I read and analyzed when I was an undergraduate student. Those texts are Langston Hughes's The Negro Artist and the Racial Mountain, and George Schuyler's The Negro Art Hokum. If you're not familiar with these texts, I'm going to incorporate two PDFs of the full text if you're interested in investigating them on your own. But I'm going to give you a brief synopsis here in the video just so you can understand why this has to do with the debate around Black History Month. Bear with me, I'm going to read a portion of text to help you understand this debate. In his 1926 article, The Negro Art Hokum, Schuyler argued that Black artists in America were equally as diverse as white artists, and that to expect a uniform style or subject matter was as insulting as the stereotypes that were being rejected. In a scathing response, Langston Hughes argued that for Black artists to paint anything but images of African Americans was tantamount to wanting to be white. So that was a brief synopsis of this debate. I included the debate between Langston Hughes and George Schuyler because, similarly to the Black History Month debate, we have one side saying we need to incorporate our Blackness because it's being left out. And then we have another side saying we need to include ourselves in the general conversation because we belong there. And I don't think either perspective is necessarily wrong, but I think that Schuyler's perspective is a more idealistic perspective in which we're not properly assessing the realities of systemic racism and marginalization and oppression, and the fact that as much as we belong in the general conversations of be that art or history, we're not currently there, and therefore there needs to be some kind of supplement that puts us in these spaces in which we do belong, but we're just not there yet. Let me explain. Basically, I want to break this down into 3 positions for and against Black History Month. You're like 3 positions for and against are 2 different things, but I believe that there are 2 different kinds of people who are against Black History Month, and I think by putting those 2 groups together under one would actually do one of the groups a disservice because they really aren't anywhere close to the other, if that makes sense. So again, 3 positions for and against Black History Month. And I want to start with the people who are for. So we have a group of people, I'm not sure if it's the majority, but it is a diverse group of people, meaning that there's probably white people and Black people in this group, but these people are for Black History Month. And typically this group understands the importance of hearing about the contributions of Black Americans while simultaneously understanding that due to white supremacy and racism, these stories are often left untold. And therefore, we need campaigns, be that Black History Month in this case, in order to combat the overarching narrative and better incorporate these often marginalized stories into the history books. So that's the first group, and those are the people who are for Black History Month. Again, we have 2 different kinds of people that are against Black History Month. So let's start with these ones. The first group of people who are against Black History Month are the people who are against Black History Month because there isn't a White History Month. Yeah, we're going to talk about those people. So this group of people is unlike the first group. They're not diverse. Honestly, they're typically white folk who are ignorant, and these are the kinds of people who think that reverse racism is a thing. These are the people who think that Black History Month in some way infringes on their civil rights. These are the kind of people who ask me why I can post pictures on Instagram and hashtag Black Girl Magic and Black Boy Joy, and they can't hashtag White Girl Magic and White Boy Joy, and they just feel so incredibly left out because they've never been left out before, and it's just so sad. It's just so incredibly sad for them. I'm really sorry. Like, it must be really hard for you. Those people, you know who I'm talking about. Unfortunately, they're a part of this debate because they actually say these real things out of their own mouths, and they don't realize that there would be no reason for black or brown people to say things like Black Lives Matter or Black Girl Magic or have Black History Month if white supremacy didn't exist. And the reason why they're feeling so attacked by these things is because white is always the standard and it's always centered, and when it's not, they feel like you're messing with my stuff. And so That's why they're against Black History Month. Now, there's another kind of person who's against Black History Month. And they're against Black History Month because they don't truly feel like one month or one category does enough justice to encapsulate all of the contributions that Black Americans make. These people are typically intellectuals. I'd say that they're the George Schuylers of the argument. These people, I also wanted to reference, in my Black History Month calendar, I cite a independent film made by Shukri Hassan Tillman. It's called More Than a Month. And he argues in this film that Black History Month should no longer be an observance. And part of his argument is that Black History Month is subjugated to the coldest and shortest month of the year, which in essence is an insult, and of course doesn't fully encapsulate all of the contributions that Black Americans have and are currently making to American history.
Here we are, another year, where we're just going to try to cram everything into 1 month, and that's so inadequate.
If you're coming from a predominantly white institution, or if you're just coming from a regular public school, you don't learn anything about it until that month, and then they'll just stop talking about it.
I am not an advocate of Black History Month. Week, month, 6 months, or year.
To have Black History Month is sort of exceptionalizing African Americans, almost treating them with a certain amount of condescension.
They are selling something. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, you know what? You know we are in business to make money.
I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
If we just gradually put it into every class, now it's not African American history, it's just history.
It sounds to me a lot like my understanding of George Schuylers' argument. And actually, similar to my response to George Schuylers' argument is I'm actually compelled by this argument. In my work, I really do try to help ignorant but well-intentioned white people grow in their cultural competency in order to better understand racism and racial identity. And of course, in that work, I do hope that one day things like Black History Month will be obsolete because people truly do understand all of the contributions that African Americans and Black Americans have made in this country. It would be great if it was obsolete, and that would be able to happen when it's equally incorporated in the history books, when American history starts with the Native Americans, when history books actually tell the truth. But that brings me to my stance on whether or not we need Black History Month. And because I don't think that we're at that point yet, I believe, yes, we do need Black History Month. Even though I think we need Black History Month, I celebrate Black history all year long because of who I am and because of the work I do. And I don't want white people to be like, oh, I bought HTRA's educational calendar, I did my part. No. If you really want to be active in anti-racism, it's something that you have to constantly be doing. And I mean constantly. So yes, I think we need Black History Month. And to drive home my point, I'm just going to refer back to the guy who created Black History Month. That's right, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. We talked about him earlier, remember? Although he did hope that one day Black History Month would be rendered obsolete, he gave a qualifier, and that was when white Americans see Black Americans as equal and valuable members of American society. And I would argue that unfortunately, due to the evidence found in mass incarceration, the racial income gap, the opportunity gap, the preschool to prison pipeline, and police brutality, to name a few, we can see that Black Americans are not treated as equal and valuable members of our nation. And therefore, by Dr. Carter G. Woodson's own definition, we still need Black History Month. Woo! that was a whole lot of information, and I just said it for the second time, so I really hope this was recording me. Let's just check. Yes! 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 That was a whole lot of information you just got, and I genuinely hope that you enjoyed this episode of HGRA. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and that it was meaningful in whichever way it applies to you. Do me a favor and hit a thumbs up if you think we still need Black History Month. And also be sure to comment on and share this video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I release new content every other Wednesday, except again, if you are on Patreon, I've included the information to join my Patreon in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Also follow HTRA on social media. I left this out in the beginning, so if you have not already joined the HTRA book club, it is February. We are reading Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. Be warned, this is a more difficult read than our previous one, so I am actually listening to the audiobook version because of my crazy schedule. But if you're interested, I've included the link to join my book club in the description box below. It is just a smaller, more intimate community where we are able to discuss racism and racial identity together and learn from each other. So check that out. Again, check out my Black History Month calendar. And if you're interested in winning some really cool prizes, participate in my Instagram challenge. I've incorporated information to that below. Yeah. That's enough. Until the other Wednesday, peace. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? Oh, that's cool. Mine? Chocolate peanut butter cup. What is it about ice cream that makes you so thirsty? Somebody look that up and comment below and let me know.